name's Mariane Power, and it's an absolute pleasure to be joining you through this very short training video and introductory guide to BAM, a framework that I put together for Bambuddha last year when we dreamt up Coach 2020. First of all, welcome. Whether you're joining us from Coach 2020 into this year or whether you're starting as a coach now, I really hope that your coaching journey with Bambuddha is as rewarding as mine was last year. Let's dive on in. A little bit about me first. So my background is in clinical psychology. I work as a clinical psychology registrar in practice, but also as a coaching psychologist, working with executive leaders and the co-founder of the Posify Group, which is a company arming the next gen with a sense of purpose and equipping them with the skills they need to design a life of future and become tomorrow's kind leaders. So before we dive into BAM, let me tell you a little bit about the philosophy or I guess the theory, the guiding principles underlining it. So when I was thinking about what it would take to be a kind coach, and this was kind of the question that Anna and I were putting out there, could we develop coaches or could we give coaches a toolkit, if you like, or a framework that helped them to work with leaders who weren't just interested in value in terms of profit, but also in terms of how they could provide real value to the planet and its people. I was wondering what we could draw on, and for me it was really obvious, the humanistic philosophies. We all have human drives, right? So we all need to eat, we need to have shelter, and we need to sleep and have connection and find mates, but also we have an innate drive to move towards our potential. And that actually, at our core, we want to self-actualize and have a sense of mastery. And if you think about it, really, that's the role of coaching, is to helping people to move towards their full potential. Not to give advice, but to really hold up a mirror and show people what's working well and what they can do more of. And when there are gaps, to help them uncover the resources that they have within themselves or where they need to go to find the next step. Now that you've got a little bit of a guiding practice, actually before I do, 2 other books. I'm also aware that for some of you, this is a very introductory step into coaching, and that's great. Wherever you're at on your journey, can I encourage you to really think about the fact that if you're embarking on coaching, you're embarking on holding people's hearts and minds in your hands. And that is a gift, I think, that deserves to be taken seriously and to be treasured and to be an ongoing case of professional development. Certainly not something this little 5-minute introductory video, probably longer, is going to get for you. But let me introduce you to some favorites. Very, very basics, but a nice one to come back to. Richard Nelson Jones' Practical Counseling and Helping Skills. Very practical. So grab yourself a copy of that. Also, motivational interviewing. When you're working with your coachees, it's really important to understand what stage of change they're at. And so remembering with humanistic principles as well, we want to be guided by our client or our coachee's needs and understand that we all have different unique perspectives. So motivational interviewing, this one you can get William Miller and Stephen Rolnick. And again, very practical guide, but understanding theories of change. Okay, BAM! Beginner's mind, authentic action, and meaning, which is my area of research. Very exciting, but it all ties together, I promise. Let's start with beginner's mind. Why? Well, when we're coaching, we need to remember that we come into our practice, that we bring into the room, if you like, our own biases, our own assumptions, our own experiences, and they can be useful sources of information, but we really need to park them at the door for our coachee, so that we can understand in a very empathetic way, but one that has unconditional positive regard and acceptance of our coachee's experience. So we want to adopt a position of curiosity, like we've never come across a challenge that they're facing before, like we've never understood the type of experiences that they've had. So lots and lots and lots of meaningful questions, open-ended questions that encourage your coachee to share more about how they're seeing situations. So we're asking what's going on for the coachee, and then we're going to get back really useful information, both for us to understand the way they see the world, but also for them to see how maybe some of the things that they're doing might be incongruent with their goals, or that maybe their goals need to shift. Beginner's mind. Also, one thing to keep in mind, I want to introduce you, if you haven't come across, the work of Kristin Neff. So Kristin Neff talks about self-compassion. And this is really important for us as coachees working in the impact space and the purpose space, but also for our leaders who are kind leaders who are wanting to make a difference, because often we find that people who are very compassionate towards others could do with a little bit of work around compassion towards themselves. And in fact, that inner critic can get in the way and stop us from doing our best work. So Kristen Neff has a great workbook, the Mindful Self-Compassion Workbook, again, full of practical, evidence-based tips and tools that you can take into your sessions. So I encourage you to have a look at her work. Okay, let's move on to authentic action, which really fundamentally coaching is all about, right? We want change. Insights are fantastic, but we're helping people move towards the change that they wish to see within themselves and in the world as well. So again, one of my favorite books, I don't have a hard copy, is by our good friend and colleague Dr. Susie Green and Stephen Palmer, and it's called Positive Psychology in Coaching Practice. You might have heard of positive psychology. It's all about the science of looking of how can we help people move from functioning into flourishing. And so again, this particular book, Positive Psychology in Coaching Practice, full of fantastic tips and tricks and tools that you can use confidently, knowing that they've been rigorously tested, evidence-based. Also, positivepsychology.com, another really brilliant practical website that you can go, and whatever goes on for your coachee in between sessions and you need to add to that toolkit, I encourage you to always do that. It's a very good resource online. Okay, so it's a little bit about authentic action. Don't forget your goal setting. Of course, there's SMART goal setting. You can look that up. Whoop goal setting, and I think both are in your workbooks, but both you can look up as well. Both really good evidence-based goal setting practices. Last one, my favorite, meaning. Wraps it all up, right? We're talking about kindness coaching and helping kind leaders do good things in the world. I want to introduce you to the work of Martella and Steger, who are two researchers I follow, who I think have got some fantastic theories and ideas of what makes for a meaningful life. They have broken it down to 3 dimensions. So thinking about what's meaningful in terms of what matters to my heart, so a significance dimension. And this is all about what my values are, what my strengths are. I know you do character strengths with Bambuddha. Who are the people that matter the most to me? What are the causes that I stand for? So the things that matter to your heart. The second dimension is about coherence. So the narrative, if you like, that we see in the world. So how we make sense of the things that happen to us and how they then map to the world that we wish to see, for example. So thinking about people's stories and narratives and how that's meaningful. And the third dimension is around purpose. Now these are the goal aspect, if you like, of meaningful living. So thinking about goals that aren't just meaningful to us, but make a difference to others as well, is what purpose is all about. So keeping in mind those 3 different dimensions of meaning, both for yourself and for your coachees as you're working through with them, and looking for some practical tools that map to those. Another fantastic book I want to encourage you to take a look at is by Zach Mercurio, and he's one of our researchers on how purpose then can take a shining light, if you like, for people, for organizations and for communities. And he's got some fantastic case studies and also some practical tools that you can use with your coachees in his book called The Invisible Leader. So I really encourage you to take a look at that. All right, so we've gone beginner's mind, authentic action, meaning, and I'd like to wrap it up by saying thank you. Thank you for committing not just to Bambuddha, but for committing yourself to this glorious journey of helping us all create or co-create a better world. I wouldn't be sitting here doing this little video on a Saturday night, albeit in my room here in Port Macquarie, if it wasn't because I'm just always constantly inspired by humans like you who are volunteering and giving their time to make this world a better place. So whether it be face-to-face or online very soon, I can't wait to meet you. Do reach out. You can find me on LinkedIn, Mariane Power, or ask Anna, she'll put us in touch. Of course, through my company, the Posify Group, you can email me there. Or any other place you'll find me, hang out on the internet. Good luck, have fun, and stay kind to yourself and to others.